look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carpet nights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, time to get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy. The current night is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading.
How long have you guys been doing your podcast?
We just shared our 19th episode.
Right. So that's been what, like 2 years?
Roughly speaking, yeah, give or take.
That's good for 2 years.
Yeah, we had a gap of a couple months, pandemic, injuries, family stuff.
Well, and I think the pandemic, as much as everyone thought it would be easy to podcast, it wasn't necessarily true. Okay, according to all these screens I'm looking at in front of me, we should be streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch.
Oh my goodness, that's a bunch.
So we'll see. Let me see if hang on, make sure I don't back out. If I back out, if I disappear, let me know. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm recording all of this. That's my only share screen. It's just all right. Okay, I think I got that. And I think I got I didn't have a logo for you yet, John. I didn't know what your podcast was going to be called. Okay.
Yeah, we're still.
The name is, well, I wouldn't say the name's super important, but it's probably harder than you know. I just know we named Zoe Star Wars Geek Girl. 5 episodes in, she starts podcasting with Lizzie, and I couldn't change it to Star Wars Geek Girls because that was like a pseudo porn site.
You don't want to make that mistake.
Yeah. So especially when you're
when you're talking about teenagers, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, so Anthony and I had talked about doing a show for a while and talked about it. And originally we were going to do Thank the Maker. And then when we finally got around to looking it up, there was actually someone out there who already had that. So we couldn't use that. So then we went to Thank the Makers, plural, and then decided that wasn't catching on. So we changed it to The Forces Behind Star Wars.
All right. Yeah. Well, I love your guys' podcast. I hate when you just put it on video though, because I miss it because I can't watch a video while I drive. So I hope I'm recording this thing.
Well, what ends up happening is one of our guys does so we record it through Zoom. So he has the video, and he just puts that up there before we do the editing for the audio, and then the audio gets posted, a day or two later. So that's why there's that delay between the video and the audio.
Oh, okay. Well, let's first. I guess we should all introduce ourselves because I don't know what I'm going to do with this audio. This is me. You guys are my guinea pigs for testing this for Zoe. But if again, I'm gonna probably open up YouTube and see what it looks like for us, what other people are seeing. You guys might want to. I don't know what devices you have, but we'll introduce ourselves. I'll go first just because But my name is Mike Hinton, and I guess I'm kind of a podcaster.
Well, we got someone that's online with us right now. Kevin's online with us.
Nice. Okay, here we go, Kevin. YouTube present. So yeah, now I see. I gotta. Can you guys see the chat?
Yes, I can see the chat perfectly.
Okay, good. Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look at all these
Kevin laughed that he
screens.
didn't know the backstory behind the Star Wars Geek Girl name, so we've already got one person laughing at it. So we'll count that
Well,
as a
good.
win.
Well, so
We can
yeah,
just close
we're
it out for
not
the rest of the night.
we're not Star Wars geek girls. In case you haven't noticed, or if you're blind and deaf, I guess then you probably wouldn't be watching YouTube. Um, but my name's Mike Hinton, and my daughter does Star Wars Geek Girl. This is their 7th year, and I do a podcast called Creedacast. I mainly produced Zoe's show, and I've been listening to podcasts forever, since at least 2006. I listened to the 500 First Cast and a bunch of other ones. And I just like talking about Star Wars. And these are two gentlemen I met through Star Wars. I don't think there's any way I would have met either of you guys if it wasn't for Star Wars. So,
Yeah, that's
Ken,
probably
I'll let you go.
Yeah.
You go next.
Okay, well, I'm Ken Bishop. I actually am on a show called The Forces Behind Star Wars, and it started off me and my friend Anthony, who became friends by meeting in the toy department of Target, looking at Star Wars toys.
Best Star Wars meetup ever.
And then he connected with one of his other friends, Demetrius, who's in California. So the three of us recorded a bunch of episodes. And then just recently, Anthony brought on two more guests, two more friends. So our what started off as two people has now grown to 5 people on the forces behind Star Wars. And we just recorded and released our 19th episode.
And you're also tell them the other things you do in Star Wars land.
Oh yeah, that's probably a good thing to mention. So I'm an official member of the Mandalorian Mercenaries. I have a custom Mandalorian costume, not the Mandalorian, but a custom Mandalorian.
Lowercase Mandalorian.
Yeah, lowercase Mandalorian. And my character's name is Kenix Gar Kabur. Kenix because it kind of goes with my name Ken. Gar is Mandoa for your, and Kabur is Mandoa for protector. So I'm Kenix, your protector. I serve as a bodyguard to whoever wants to hire me.
Nice. All right,
My
John,
turn.
it's all you.
Well, my name is John Scalise. I am a Star Wars TikToker, very much so part-time anymore. Spelled exactly how it's spelled here. I met Mike through my TikTok. Would just pop into my lives and just chat about, and then I think probably 2 or 3 months later, we started doing lives together when we finally figured it out.
Right, yeah, that was horrendous sometimes starting out.
Yeah, thankfully they've made it a lot easier since then.
Yes.
Then met Ken at when we were doing the Han Solo Chronicles, a Star Wars short film. Mike is going to have more information on that than I would. But yeah, I am not an official member of any group as of yet. I also have a Mandalorian Mercenaries costume on the way, and then a TK Stormtrooper coming as well.
Oh, if we go down that path of all the things we have on the way,
we should, come to my house.
We should mention that I don't know if you're in the group or not, Mike or John, but yeah. Mike has started a group for building Tusken costumes. So pretty soon we're going to have a whole tribe of Tusken Raiders, and I also have another Mandalorian costume in the works, a Post Imperial. So. And Mike, you have 532 costumes in process right now?
Yeah, I think I have. I think if I get them all done, it'll be by the time I die. But no, I have. So I'm a 500 First member. I have a TK. I only have one costume technically for myself, but I have a Sand Trooper that's nearly approved. I just literally have to get my lazy button, scuff up some shoes. But I build costumes. I build droids. My daughter does 000. And my other daughter does Sabine, and yeah, I met these guys in different ways. Like Ken, I met you at an armor party, I think, Ken.
Yep, a Mandalorian armor party. That's
Mandalorian
correct.
Armor party, and mainly because I wasn't really technically invited. I was just Zoe's driver, if I remember correctly. When I came, and which is how I'm known. I'm pretty much known as the girl's driver. When they were little, I was the guy who drove the Jawas, and then now I'm the guy who brings 000. So I'm fine with that.
Well, and Sabine. I mean, that's
That
how.
should be-
Yeah,
yeah, but
that's
she
how.
trips without me now, so But yeah, I want to do a custom Mando and the Book of Boba Fett, which I liked. We can talk about that in a minute. But the one thing I realized in the Book of Boba Fett, as much as I love Boba Fett, and I've been working on a Boba Fett costume, when I saw Din Djarin, I realized how much more I love his costume. Which I know is blasphemous for someone my age to say that, but that was seeing him, I was like, oh man, I really do like that style Mando.
It's all right, Mike. You can admit it. There is some good in new Star Wars that's better than the original trilogy.
Dude, I love it all. Okay, I'm at the point now where I just even get angry when people rank it. I'm just like, just like it, just like it. I mean, I know you have to
as
rank
one
it,
big thing.
It's just like it as a giant ball of whatever.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith and then everything else. That's
Yeah,
the
how many
only
copies-
ranking.
How many copies of that DVD do you have?
I haven't counted in a while, but I think I'm up to 118. I think was the last I checked.
Oh, 100, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Let me make sure I understand that right. So you're saying that you have a 118 copies of that single movie.
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, like from different countries, from
Nope, it's all just the 2005 DVD release.
I'm looking at Ken's face, and he's just like, what?
Because I can understand
promise.
it collecting the variants, but
I think you need a heat gun, and you need to melt all of that down into a suit of
into
armor.
armor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see, I just grabbed a handful, but
Okay, fair enough.
it's all just I've got don't worry, I've got a variety of widescreen and full screen.
They used to call that letterbox back in the day.
Yeah, right.
I bought my big box of the original trilogy on letterbox. It was the first movies I bought. It was the big blue box letterbox VHS, and But yeah, Ken, you brought up the Tuscans, and Marty and I were actually just talking about that. We were like, yeah, we got to get some days set up. I got to get some info out. I should have brought it down, but I think I figured out the Tuscans' eyes for that, because the new Tuscans' eye stalks are shorter, which makes them easier to see out.
Yeah.
And I was like taking stills and printing them out and doing my scale factor and stuff like that, and trying to measure out how long they were and stuff. So I think I got a pretty good feel for them.
Nice.
So John just sent some messages to me about a podcast, which he knows a lot about podcasting. Ken knows a lot about podcasting. We all know different stuff about podcasting. So I thought this would be a good time just to talk a little bit about Star Wars podcasting in general, because it's kind of like that. It's like that thankless job that everyone loves to do.
That is for sure. And one of the things I've learned since, actually having a show is the breadth of Star Wars podcasts that are out there. Because before we started, I knew of a handful.
Yeah.
And now that I'm part of one, I'm aware of a lot more. And what's weird is I've become far more selective about which ones I'll listen to. There are some that I absolutely positively will listen to over and over and over again, because they're fun, they're creative, they're wacky, they're silly, they're thought out and kind. And then there are others where I'll listen to maybe the first 5 minutes of them and say, yeah, this show is not for me, not even close.
Yep. Well, and I know for me, like I always think of podcasting, there's like the pre-written podcasts. So sometimes I like some of those. I'm not a big fan of all that style, but like Coffee with Kenobi is a good example of a well-produced, like written down scripted show. Like it has some, but then I also like the more spontaneous shows too sometimes. And then I think like Ken, yours is like that. It's almost like a cross between both. Like they have you as you're like the guy that keeps them on the rails. Like
as best as I can.
Right. But
if you've listened to our show, you'll know that we start off somewhere and it goes, 16 miles out into the desert. And I'm not sure if we're ever able to come back.
I think that's what people like though, because I think we live in a society with so many out of touch famous people even though podcasters aren't famous, you like to get to know them and their opinion, and they are famous to you. Like there are podcasters I will probably never meet that get me to work every day, because I listen to mine, and usually by Friday I'm scrambling. Okay, if people are slow, or like if it's a slow week for podcasts, and I try to pick up a new one here or there, and they get me to and from work. The topics they talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I just within the last 520 days started working for a new organization, and my commute is an hour roughly each way. So I've got 2 hours where I get to listen to stuff.
Yeah.
So I've listened to a bunch of podcasts since I started working at this new job, and it does help me get through the day. There are some days where it helps me get the motivation to go, and other times it helps me, decompress or chuckle on the way back. And I see that Kevin's making some comments here in the chat and says it's nice to meet me. I'm wondering, Kevin, what kind of things do you look for or listen for in the podcast that you consume, just to try to see
if you listen to them.
Yeah, if you listen to them, yeah, that's a good point.
And if you don't, give them a try.
See, that's kind of my problem. Is I don't really have the time to listen to podcasts because, unlike you guys, because I know, Mike, your commute's about the same, about an hour one way.
About an hour. It's about an hour.
See, mine's only about 25 minutes to a half hour. So my biggest problem is I don't want to get too invested, work a 10-hour day, and then totally forget where I left off. So like I was just working on my helmet, so I'm like, well, I need something to listen to. Don't really want to listen to music, so I just threw on Star Wars Geek Girl, the latest episode. So I was listening to that. Honest to God, while I was working on my helmet. So that's really the only time that I have to listen to like a well thought out podcast is something that I know I'm going to be doing for more than 15, 20 minutes. Well,
and there is a lot of podcasters that don't even listen to podcasts. Like, and not out of any hatred for the medium. It's just like you said, their lives are that way, and they don't listen as much as I don't know if I'm lucky to be able to drive an hour, but I drive an hour. I can listen at work this year. My old room, I had no signal in my room, so I couldn't listen. This year, I can. If I'm grading papers, I'll throw some on. I just have to watch like language. Like I yelled at Zoe because she said shit or something like that. Which isn't bad, but I was like, just be careful because I don't want to, have to put the warning or get something from Apple or something. But I mean, that's the thing. I think people just like to hear that, and that's what I was saying to you. And I think Ken's going to hear a repeat because I had given Ken my 2 cents too sometime. But like, I like podcasts with multiple people on them. And it doesn't have to even be the regular, as long as there's like a regular anchor for it, it can be different people because there's a few people that can pull off a one-man podcast, but it's tough,
I think that kind of stuff does take a lot more attention, more preparation. I don't think it's one of those things that you can do an effective stream of consciousness. And I think one of the things I like about spending so much time with you, Mike, and as I get to spend more time with John, is we tend to create those shows that are engaging, that feel like a bunch of friends just talking, and we tend to lean on the positive side of things.
Yes.
Because there's, as silly as this may sound, there's a lot of dislike, almost hatred for different portions of the Star Wars universe, which absolutely positively baffles me. I don't understand how someone could get so feisty and frustrated with something that's meant to be entertainment. Because for me, if entertainment, if there's a form of entertainment that I don't like, I don't invest in it. I don't ingest it. I don't even bother being involved in it. But some folks really get excited about talking about how bad it is, or how silly it is. Or I mean, so on the day that the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett aired, within a few hours of it being released, someone had already come out and said how lame the whole series was.
Yeah.
And I feel like that leans into the fact that Star Wars is so big as just a form of entertainment now that it's an easy target. Yeah, so you get people who like to harp on the negative aspects of it, and it's no matter what, you could throw a stone and hit two people who don't like something about a specific Star Wars story.
Oh,
Well,
definitely.
that's understandable. However, when they go to the extremes of attempting to convert you to why you should dislike what I dislike, or why you should think what I think, like I've never been a fan of that mentality, especially as it relates to something that has brought me joy for so many years.
Well, and also, and I know it's kind of a line from the Last Jedi, but you don't want to be known for what you hate. You know, like there's a few things that maybe a few things, I don't know, that I don't like about Star Wars, but I guarantee you no one can say, oh yeah, that's that Mike guy who hates blah blah blah. You know, and there are people I know that, like my one boss at work, every time he sees me, he up until the newest movies, he would just harp on Jar Jar Binks. You know, like I knew that was going to be the first sentence, no matter what. You know, and that was for years. Jar Jar was like the go-to, like, this is what I hate about Star Wars, and now it's whatever, you know. So, I surround myself with people like you guys. Like, I think for as much as we did for Matt in that armor, that was as tired as I was, and I was worried about John. Like, I couldn't celebrate until I knew John was home safe, because he drove like
15 hours.
Yeah, 15 hours, stood in armor for 15 hours, and then drove back from 15 hours. So I was petrified.
Yeah, I think at the end of that day, I was up for 49 straight hours. I slept so good that Sunday. Or no. Yeah, we did it on Saturday. So yeah, it would have been Sunday.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the kind of stuff, like, if everyone would just get out of their comfort zone and maybe meet someone out of, like, they might find someone positive in Star Wars. You know, like, my students now like Star Wars now. It's kind of neat because I can talk Star Wars with students, and you know, I can.
Well, I mean, if you
Star
think
Wars.
about it, George meant for it to be, movies for kids, to teach lessons, whether you're talking about history lessons or you're talking about life lessons. I mean,
Yep.
the way that I understood it, and I've never met George, or I should say, I haven't met George yet.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
However, I think that when I do, he'll just reinforce this idea. He wanted it to be fun. He wanted it to be creative. He wanted to use it as a vehicle to teach stories and stuff. So,
Yeah, the closest I got to George was when they filmed Zoe's episode of our Star Wars stories. The Lucasfilm people told Jordan that they showed it to George and he liked it. That's as close as I think I'll probably ever get to George.
really, I was in the same room with him once.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was hoping to run into him in Chicago when we were at the Phantom Menace panel. I was like, oh, George Lucas, because if he would have come out, I would have just been happy to be in, and he did. They just showed a video.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, we went to Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. No, well, we went to Anaheim. When was the 40th? That was what, 2017?
Was that Orlando? Yeah, that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was Orlando. So 2017. My youngest stepson and I, we stayed overnight in the convention center. He slept on the floor, and I stayed awake the whole night. And then George came out for the 40th anniversary panel, and we were 2 rows from the front. We were in the second row. It was like you could have pushed me over with a feather. It was that amazing. I'm goosebumpy now just talking about it. It was awesome, absolutely awesome.
If you ever get a chance, you got to talk to Marty about. He went to the first celebration.
The one in the mud in Indianapolis or something like that.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like, I knew it was happening, but I was at a point in my life that I just couldn't. It wouldn't have been a good fit for where we were at in our life, because I forget what year that was, but I was like, it wasn't feasible, and I really never thought I'd go to a celebration. It just always seemed financially out of my reach. And then once I went, I was like, oh crap, I'm going to be screwed every time it's around.
Yeah, look, I'm just jealous of you guys that you've made it to Celebration. That's a bucket list item for me.
Well, I tell you, once you go, you won't stop.
Yeah.
What's funny? It's funny that you mentioned that, Mike, that you won't stop. So, for my 40th birthday, Heather took me and the rest of the family to California to go to Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. Then we went to Orlando. Then we went the whole family went the whole time. And then for Chicago, it was just the two of us, and we went for one day. And I'm going to sound like a spoiled child when I say this. One day is not enough.
Oh, I
like
know.
it's not enough. There's so much to see.
Now, did I know you then, Ken, at Chicago?
I think so, but it may have been like just we were definitely more acquaintances at that point. But it was so once you go, John, make sure you foot for the whole kit and caboodle, because once you get a taste of it, it's one of those things that you want to repeat again and again and again.
The hotel was fire code breaking rules that Saturday or Friday night, and it was Hip Hop Trooper and his dancing people till like 2 a.m. It was crazy, you know.
Yeah, I was just having this conversation with my dad last night. Because like I want to go to Celebration, but I told him, I was like, I'm gonna spend a lot of money while I'm there. So Anaheim's kind of out of the question. I needed to come back to either Chicago or Orlando so I can drive, so I have a place to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I mean, why pay for a hotel when you have a mobile home?
Well, I got a book for 3, so it doesn't work out that well.
I'm in a very good, unique situation.
Yeah, but and you won't spend money really at the Celebration store only because it takes so long to get in. Like, you either spend a lot because you just waited in line for 2 hours, or you're just like fed up and you'll just go through. But it was just honestly, like, I went to some panels. I went to some really small panels. Like, I went to one where it was like Star Wars trivia. It was just a couple doing Star Wars trivia. That was really fun. It was like it was like people bringing their kids in and stuff. And it's going to be different in Anaheim because I can't take any costumes. So, I mean, I could, but I don't trust the air people with any of my costumes. So,
well, you should reach out to the Pennsylvania Mercs. I know a bunch of them are driving. Maybe they'll.
Again, like I would want to take 000. 000 is 2 giant totes, and I'm not.
Yeah, they usually do like a convoy.
Yeah, because I drove to California. This year is weird for us because the girls will be off, so they're probably gonna fly out early and just stay with the Paralysis or something if the Paralysis let them. Which I don't know why they wouldn't. Because airfare, if they go a day earlier and leave a day late, it saves me like $600 on airfare. Just
per ticket or total?
Total, but still $600 is because of the holiday.
A lot of souvenirs right there.
Yeah, I'm like about up to here. Like I gotta find more room because I'm starting the interior of the Falcon, and that gets rid of all my displays in that room. So then I'm kind of like, then I'm stuck. So I'm trying to get it done so Matt can film in there, but I don't know if I'll get it done in time.
You got what?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's Monday. I barely built a doorway, and I'm going to try to build this round doorway. So this could go horribly wrong. I was doing all the math, and I have all these little diagrams and pictures, but I have no clue how to create it. So we'll see. We'll see what's happening. I can barely hang square drywall, let alone round drywall.
Why don't you just build a volume instead? It'd be easier.
Yeah, just high def. I'll just do high def screens all the way around.
Yeah.
What? Only $250,000?
Yeah,
sure.
I got that. Take out a home
that's
equity.
Podcast money. That's podcast money right there.
Oh man, yeah. I tell you what, I never want to run the numbers of what the podcast cost me, because I host Zoe's on SoundCloud. You use Anchor?
We use Anchor for ours.
Yeah. So I want to move it over to Anchor, but I just haven't. I moved CreatorCast over to Anchor, but I just haven't made that step to move it over, just because SoundCloud has been so good, for 7 years.
Yeah.
But that and equipment, like I got a Zoom recorder, which is really nice for when she does remote stuff. But it just, sunk in a lot of cash. I think she got an iPad out of it from Wired Magazine. She got an iPad from Wired Magazine. She got an invite.
Wow.
That was her. That was when they first started.
But it's all for the love of Star Wars. I mean,
Yeah. Well, that's the fun of just talking Star Wars. Sometimes it's just what gets you through the week. You know, you have a bad week. Well, and we all got costumes to build. Like, do you have your helmet there? Can you hold your helmet up, John? That one you showed me the picture of, or is it nearby? Not nearby.
it's not nearby. However, I gotta step off screen for a minute anyway, so I can run and grab it real quick.
Yeah, grab it. He had a nice helmet. So, and Ken, all right now. Ken, did you? The Mando Mercs don't have a. We just had our election. So
yeah, we just the leadership elections happened, I think, in December.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because the 501st is a Jersey guy, so he's one of your Jersey fellows.
Yeah. Oh, maybe January. I can't remember which.
Yeah, ours just finished like last night, I think, or the night before. And so
the last few months or so, I've had a whole lot of stuff going on and distracted me from that. It was too much. There was just. I mean, I just recently had surgery on my arm. And
oh yeah, I remember. How's that? You
it's
still wear a costume.
I still don't have the ability to fully extend it or rotate it, but it's I'm recovering.
That's good.
So
yeah,
and I can get my costume on, so that's that.
Well, that's good. That's what counts. I mean, you know. But yeah, after seeing Mando again, I forgot how much I love that costume. I like Fett. I'm working on the Fett costume. Like, I just have to finish the helmet. I got the armor done.
Now with the Fett, which version of the Fett are you going to go with?
See, that's what I liked, the one where he had it repainted when they picked up Fennec Shand and when they picked up the guy from the prison planet.
Okay.
I did a version of that. But they've changed it so many times. I'm like, oh man, which one do I want to do? You know, but I like that kind of look. Like I'd love to do the Empire one, but I'd have to lose like 30 pounds, I think, to really pull it off. I mean, I know I don't have to, but you know,
you might have to grow like 4 inches too, because I think Jeremy Bullock is a little bit taller than you are.
I'm 5'10", so I don't know how tall he is.
Oh, maybe not. Okay, I didn't realize you were that tall.
Yeah, well. I'm old. I think you lose. I probably lost like a half inch from a car accident. So I think my one leg's like a half inch shorter or something like that. But yeah, I just got to get. I'm just trying to get all my little stuff done before weather breaks, and work on. I want to redo. I still am working on Safi's C-3PO, and I think I got the paint straightened out, but I don't want to waste it. It was way more money than anyone should ever pay for paint, and I don't want to waste it until it's warm enough. I know it has a fighting chance. So,
and you use
I'll have to airbrush it. Well,
airbrush.
I'll use it the way it works, I have to do a silver coat first, and then I have to put this gold glaze on it. So, and I got to make the costume. So I think I'm going to make her C-3PO out of fiberglass, so I can make it a little lighter. And I got to fix 000 has a lot of miles. 000 has like some broke. We went to Steel City in December, and a kid backed into her and broke an arm piston off. So I got to do some work on that too. And I still have one more Sabine to finish, which I got to finish that before the live action because I'll have to do that one too.
Now, considering that you mentioned, Book of Boba Fett and everything, were there any other characters from the show that you thought would make great costumes?
Well, the Tuskens. Right off the bat, the Tuskens, and then I liked oh man, my name, I just forgot his name. Cad Bane. I liked Cad Bane. I like that costume. Like I never liked I like the animated character. I like the character, and I know guys that have done the costume, but I always thought the hat was just a little too big for real life. So a lot of the Cad Banes that people I know have made Cad Banes, they almost look like a bobblehead because they have the mask and the hat proportional, and it's not really. If you did it proportional to your body, you'd be like 10 feet tall. Did you bring that mask? Can you bring that?
Yep.
And this is your custom, Mando?
Yes.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah, I just got this of filler primer on it.
Oh, very cool. Good old filler primer.
Yeah. And I tried wet sanding for the first time, and that
Yeah, I told
worked
you.
a treat.
Because what that does is it takes that primer and it liquefies it and makes it almost like a putty.
Mhm.
And then it fills in. And then, yeah, that wet sanding, because I used to do cars that way. And you could really, like, cheat by wet sanding.
Yeah, I was shocked because like there were some spots there that I was like, great, I'm gonna have to go over this 2 or 3 more times, and it's like, oh, I guess one more round of glazing and spot putty. It's really all it needs.
Well, Ken, were you working on a guard? Were you working on like a royal guard? Is that the one you have done?
No, the costume that I have is it looks like Beskar armor, so it's just silver with a black soft parts.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I think I'd seen pictures, but I remember when I met you, you were working on the back detail of the helmet. You had like a pattern. Is that the same one?
Same one, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what's funny about it is, so I'd been working on that costume since before The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And my idea was to have this regal, just intimidating looking character, just to stand there and serve as a guard. And then when The Force Awakens came out and we saw Phasma, I thought, that's a beautiful look. I mean, just black and silver, plain, simple, regal, intimidating. So I wanted my costume to look like that. And then The Mandalorian comes out and they give him a Beskar armor. Like, so now people are thinking that I copied that when in fact I had this.
I was there when you were working on it, so I remember.
Yeah, so I've had it in the works for a while.
Yeah, just show them the receipts. Be like, look, this was well before The Mandalorian came out.
Well, it's funny because I joined the Mandalorian Mercs forum, I don't know, maybe 11 years ago or something like that. And I had comments on there. So to your point, yeah, I was simple before it was cool. I was in all Beskar before it was cool.
Well, yeah, excuse me, when I guess it was when the 501st. So the first suit of armor I looked for, Stormtrooper armor, was in 1992 or 93, and it was this newfound what do you call it? Internet was just invented, and I was searching for armor, and you would go on these pages, and it would be called like Space Trooper armor, and you would fill out a form, and then they would send you a photocopy picture in the mail, real old-timey mail, and you get a picture. And then by the time you got that and you went to the website, it had been closed down because Lucasfilm would go around and knock down all these sites that were selling armor. It's just come a long way when Lucasfilm's like, we don't care. We can't sell armor, so you guys can do it.
Yeah, now there's an 8 to 10 week waiting list for at least for Waltz. I'm still waiting on mine to ship.
Waltz is good though.
Yeah.
I mean, when I joined, there was really only two. There was Studio Creations and I forget the other name, but they were both $700 just for the hard parts. But what made me buy FX armor, it was pre-cut. The other one wasn't. Now the helmet's crazy inaccurate, and the armor is kind of inaccurate. But with the right helmet, the white armor is pretty good. Well, you've worn it.
Yeah, I mean it's comfortable. Little big. The honestly though, like I was more so worried about the like chest looking like horribly unproportional. My biggest thing was you're a bit taller than I am, so there's some gaps in the in the thigh and the shin armor.
Well, I got short, the upper parts of my legs. I don't know if there's something deformed about me, but my top of my legs are just shorter or something. I don't know. Or as I got older, maybe my butt just got bigger and took part of my legs away. But I had to cut those down too. So, but it was, I can't wait. I can't wait till his next shoot. I keep bugging Zoe to get, something written, but that poor kid's working like 26 hours a day. So, and did she message you back?
No, at least not that I saw.
I'll remind her. I'll say, but I know she had a night class last night, and she was on RA duty today. So she takes that stuff pretty seriously. So it's hard to get a hold of her when she's doing actual stuff. So
right. Yeah. However, for speaking of the next shoot, if my armor's not here by then, I might need to borrow your kit one more time. But I will have the correct boots this time.
Oh, that's okay. I thought that was pretty funny. You know, well, it's funny because now I have a lot of people asking me about it, and I feel like, where were you then? You know, like this is what always happens. I think I got a couple people angry at me too.
Is he just doing pickups?
He's doing pickups, so I don't know what that means. I love Matt to death, but he doesn't work with urgency. You know, like I was like, I'm glad that other cameraman was there, or we'd be doing like 3 days worth of pickup shots. You know, because he just works at his own pace. You know, so
yeah,
that's the first time I've ever been on a film set like that, and it was pretty fun, pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was hoping Zoe was there because like when Zoe. She worked on a film set with a friend of ours, Jake, and they promoted her to like second director like the first day because she kept them on track. Like she would tell the writer / director of the movie what he was doing wrong. You know, I don't think she realized. She's like, no, you just shot, and then he would fix it. So we needed someone like that on that day to like, look, we got to get these shots. You know, because I think we could have got more shots, but that's just me. I just like I don't like to burn daylight, you know. I just know how hard it is to get guys together, and hopefully Zoe will be able to come. And then they're going to do interior shots, either my house or Marty's house for the Falcon.
Now, are you going to be throwing a green screen for that? I'm assuming, or are you going to try and get the
we're going to do a green screen. He's going to do a green screen because it's the interior of the cockpit. But according to Matt, the guy who's doing his special effects bought a graphics pack from Lucasfilm. I guess because Lucasfilm is always, you know, selling to help people learn. And according to this guy, he has all the graphics and they can superimpose them with minimal green screen. So you have to trust your graphic guy, you know. It's come a long way. I mean, just in the last couple of years of what you can do on your phone, and you know, you can put a background on this without even green screen anymore. You know,
right.
with your so.
And I think Kevin agrees with you, Mike, that Zoe's a great assistant.
Oh, okay, cool.
See, I read PA as Pennsylvania, and I was confused for a second. And I'm PA personal assistant. Duh.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, I'll tell her. Yeah, Zoe, you know, I as a father, I know I probably care more about, you know, I you know, you rose-colored glasses watching for your kid, but she's always surprised me because she's always liked Star Wars. I wish she would have started a podcast when she was about 5 or 6. I was like, hey, you should start a Star Wars podcast, and she didn't want anything to do with it. But she was like 7 or 8 when Clone Wars came out, and her and I talk about this a lot. A lot of these people hated the Clone Wars, and Zoe would win arguments with these people. 2 things. It was funny. It was funny because she would win. But secondly, I used to always think, why is an adult picking an argument with an 8-year-old? But, you know, but it's weird because like her and I have loved Clone Wars. Like we saw it multiple times in the theater. We've always loved Ahsoka, even when they called her Snips and all that kind of stuff. And now it's like this, everyone loves her, and they, you know, and it's just funny because we're like, yeah, we remember when you really didn't love her. But my favorite Clone Wars episode is actually the first episode with Yoda. The non-movie one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one where he was personalizing all the clones.
Yeah, because
humanizing them.
I said to Zoe, she was little. I used to pre-watch them in case they were scary, because she was like 8. I was trying to be a good parent, but I remember watching that and I was thinking him personalizing the clones, but also the ending, which was a triumphant end. It was also the Emperor won because they just established a base that you knew was instantly going to take over as soon as Order 66 hit. You know, so Yoda just put the first pin in the Emperor's map, you know, more or less, in a peaceful planet that would have probably not been under the Empire. So I just love
Well,
that.
see, I think that's one of the struggles I think there is with the Clone Wars. So you have people like us who kind of know where it ended at that point, with Return of the Jedi and all of that. However, the kids who were just being introduced to this world, they had none of that,
Right.
or at least they didn't have it yet.
You kids, John. It's all You're
I know.
spoiled.
I was 10 years old when the Clone Wars came out. I think.
Yeah.
Wait, when did it? The show was the movie was 08. Was the show 2009?
No, the show came out I think a couple weeks after the movie.
Yeah,
Oh.
because the movie originally was meant to be the first few episodes.
Yeah.
But what ended
Right.
up happening is because they were doing, I guess, the dailies or whatever when they were making it, George liked it so much that he thought it would look great on the big screen.
Oh,
And so they took the first 3 or 4 episodes and smooshed them into that movie. And not everybody liked it. It was not a fan favorite when it came out.
Yeah. I loved it. Like I said, we saw it at least 6 times because it's the first Star Wars movie I went to multiple times, mainly because the kids wanted to see it. I was like, sure, I'll go.
See, I got you beat there. I saw Revenge of the Sith multiple times in the theater.
Nice. Yeah, see, honestly, until my kids were interested, if I would have asked my grandfather in '77 to go see Star Wars again, he would have looked at me like I had 2 heads. Like it's so neat to hear these people that went multiple times in '77. When I grew up, you saw a movie, that was it. You soak it in. You're not going back. You paid your money.
You got
Shouldn't
2
have gone
eyes.
to
You
the
saw
bathroom.
it?
Huh?
What did you say, John?
I was going to say you got 2 eyes. You saw it.
Yeah.
What do you need to see it again for?
Oh yeah, my grandfather was he was a good guy, but if I would even it never even crossed my mind personally to go see it. I think the first movie I saw more than once in a theater was the Michael Keaton Batman. That's the first time I ever went to a movie twice. So because I was still in that mindset, it's weird what you get entrenched in your DNA at a young age. That's why I took cosplay out of my name. I put it in there for an article they wrote on us at Millersville, but I took it out of my TikTok name because I hate that word. I hate the word cosplay. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either, to be truthful with you.
I mean, I love Justin as a stormtrooper, so I guess I love cosplaying. That word, I feel like I should be like an emotionally unattached teenager when I hear that word. It's just
I feel like cosplay has gone. It's strayed from just costuming to now it's more mainstream, where people like closet cosplay. That there are things like that. I feel like costuming for what we do, costuming is a more accurate description.
Yeah,
because I feel like cosplay is it can be anything where you can dress up. You can dress up as anything you want. Inaccurate, accurate, however you want. That's cosplay. But when you start to get I know the 3 of us were real picky about, this detail's got to be in the right place. I feel like that's when you start to go.
These seams are too far apart.
Yeah,
I have to take it apart and put it back together again with closer seams.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's when you leave this imaginary realm of cosplay and more into costuming. When you start to nitpick of, okay, I can see one layer line there. All right, got to redo the whole helmet.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why personally that's why I don't really say I'm a cosplayer. I'm more of a costumer.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just a word. It was a weird word when it first came out. There used to be what was the show? There was a cosplay competition show, like a reality competition show. Did you guys ever see that? Heroes of Cosplay?
I heard of it, but I never watched it.
It's not a bad show. I mean, it's like, it's kind of, it was a neat show at its time. Like, I wished it would have stuck. It's funny because there was always one person gluing stuff in their hotel room the night before they had to do something. And I was always yelling, and I'm always that guy. Like, I'm always like, okay, pack the glue gun. We have to, attach Zoe's arm to her Sabine 2 minutes before she's getting ready to walk out. Like, her first Sabine, she hadn't tried it on until she walked out at Steel City. And 000 wasn't fully put together until we got to Chicago, because I had to paint the shorts and drive with smelly spray paint all the way to Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, I always carry an emergency kit with me. It's like, all right, let's pack the super glue, the Gorilla Tape, I guess a couple bottles of paint. Yeah, I'm the same way. I always most of the time it's done at least 99%, but I'm always like, well, this could fall off. I guess I'll throw this in.
Or
the
to
kit
Mike's
too.
point, something could break. I mean, the last time I wore, not the last time, but I wore my costume at an event in Wildwood, and so I've got the Boba Fett rocket on my one gauntlet, and we were walking from one part of the floor to the other in this big long line, and I had my hand out in front of me so that I didn't bump into the person, and they turned around and their backpack got caught on my rocket and broke the front end right off of it.
Oh yeah.
So those kind of accidents happen.
Yeah, my TikTok people. There's people on TikTok. We're on there. I'm just going to say this. We're live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook. It's in my bio. So if you just think I'm some idiot talking to myself, that's what it is.
Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy.